You see, the strange thing about life is that we're always trying to become something, as if who we are now is somehow insufficient. But what if I told you, the very thing you're becoming next you've already been all along? God doesn't select people the way we choose teams or titles. No, to be chosen is to awaken, to realize that the divine has been humming quietly within you, waiting for you to stop chasing and start listening. You're not on a journey toward purpose. You are purpose remembering itself. And now the veil lifts. God says this is what you're becoming next. But not because you must strive it, because you are finally still enough to see. You see, we've been taught all our lives that we are on a path of becoming, that we must strive, achieve, climb, ascend, as if life were a staircase and God stood at the top, calling us ever upward. But this is the great cosmic joke, because what you are becoming is not something distant, not something outside of you. It is something already present, quietly blooming in the very depth of your being. The divine does not shout from the heavens. It whispers within the soul. When God says, "This is what you are becoming next," He is not assigning you a new task or giving you a new identity to pursue. He is merely peeling away the illusions that have kept you blind to what you've always been. The caterpillar does not become the butterfly by adding wings to its back. It surrenders, it dissolves, and in the stillness it remembers what it was designed to be. So it is with you. We are not here to force growth, but to awaken to the natural rhythm of the soul. And what a tragedy it is that we spend so much time trying to be holy, never realizing we are already whole. You do not need to earn your place in God's plan. You are the plan. The chosen one is not a title bestowed, it is a truth revealed. But of course we resist this, because to accept that we are already enough is to surrender the game we've been playing all our lives. The game of proving, striving, chasing. The ego will say, "Surely I must do more." But the spirit already knows, "I am." The becoming is not forward, it is inward. It is not achievement, but alignment. To be chosen is not to be superior, it is simply to be awake. Awake to the pattern, the rhythm, the divine intelligence that is always at work beneath the surface. God has not left clues for the clever. He has planted the truth in every moment, in every breath, in every quiet thought you dared not speak aloud. The truth is, you are not on a journey. You are the unfolding of a sacred design, as inevitable and effortless as a flower opening to the sun. When you hear God say, "This is what you're becoming," He is not speaking of a far-off future. He is pointing you to the present, to this very breath, because here, in this stillness, you are already being shaped, not by force, but by grace, not by ambition, but by surrender. And this surrender is not defeat. It is the purest form of trust. There is no need to fear what comes next. What you are becoming is not a stranger. It is your truest self, free from the fear, the guilt, the expectations. You are not becoming someone else. You are becoming fully, unapologetically, divinely you. And that, my friend, is what it means to be chosen, not plucked out of a crowd, but awakened from a dream. So the question is not, what must I do? What must I let go of? Let go the need to be perfect. Let go of the idea that you are separate from the divine. Let go of the belief that your worth is measured by your performance. God has already chosen you, not because of what you've done, but because of who you are, because of who you've always been underneath the noise. And so, in this sacred moment, stop trying to become. Start remembering. What God said you are becoming next is simply the truth you've carried since the beginning, and it is time now to live it. We have, for too long, misunderstood the idea of being chosen. We hear the word and we think of status, of elevation, of being singled out by some divine authority for greatness. But this is a misunderstanding rooted in ego. To be chosen is not to be made greater than others. It is to awaken to a truth that has always been true for everyone. It is not that God chooses some and forgets others. No, the divine is not selective in love. It is simply that some awaken earlier than others, not by merit, but by grace. To be chosen is not a privilege. It is an awareness. It is not a golden badge to wear, but a gentle unfolding of vision. You begin to see, perhaps for the first time, that you are not separate from the rhythm of the universe. You are not a spectator watching God from afar. You are the melody being played. You are part of the dance itself. The chosen ones are not the strongest, nor the smartest, nor the most religious. They are simply those who are still enough to hear, those who have come to the end of striving and finally recognize the quiet pulse of eternity beating within them. It is not about reaching God through achievement. It is about realizing that God has always been within, waiting for you to notice. And yet, this realization does not make you superior. On the contrary, it humbles you, because when you truly grasp that you are chosen, not for what you've done, but because of who you are, then you also realize that everyone in their own way is chosen too. Some have not awakened yet. Some are still wrapped in the dream of separation. But in the grand symphony of existence, all notes belong. So if you feel that God has spoken something over your life, if you feel a stirring, a knowing that you are being called into something more, understand. It is not because you are better. It is because you are ready. Ready to see through the veil. Ready to stop playing the game of comparison. Ready to remember that your worth was never up for debate. The spiritual path is not a ladder to climb. It is more like a spiral that brings you inward, ever closer to the truth. And what is the truth? That nothing is missing, that you are not lacking, that you do not need to be validated by a world that has forgotten what matters. When God chooses you, He is not raising you above others. He is lifting the veil so you can see clearly. And in that clarity, you will feel something extraordinary, not pride, but peace, not self-importance, but sacred stillness. You begin to understand that the calling on your life is not about performing for approval, but about participating in a greater unfolding. You do not have to push or prove or posture. You only have to be, fully, honestly, lovingly. This is the shift from privilege to presence, from ego to essence. You are not chosen to be impressive. You are chosen to be aware. Aware of the love that underlies all things. Aware of the truth that you are never alone. Aware that what you call God is not distant, but intimately woven into every cell of your being. So let go of the idea that you were picked from a crowd, and instead, realize that you woke up in a crowd that had fallen asleep. You did not climb higher. You remembered who you are. That is what it means to be chosen. And now, you are being asked to live from that remembrance, not to impress the world, but to serve it, to love it, to remind it what it has forgotten. It is a strange thing, this obsession we have with becoming. From the moment we are born, we are asking, what will you be? As if who you are now is merely a seed waiting to earn its right to exist through transformation. But the truth, as it so often does, hides in plain sight. You are not becoming anything new. You are remembering what you have always been. You see, the soul does not evolve in a linear progression like a ladder stretching up to heaven. It unfolds like a flower remembering how to bloom. The process is not one of acquisition, but of recognition. Not learning, but unveiling. The sacred is not added to you. It is revealed through you. And this is what God means when He whispers. This is what you're becoming next. He does not speak of a future destination, but of an inner revelation. A moment of clarity so deep, it feels like remembering something you never consciously knew. There is a wisdom buried in you that no book can teach, no teacher can give. It is the memory of where you came from, and of what you truly are beneath the costume of personality. Not your name, not your history, not your occupation or accomplishments, but that raw, radiant essence that existed before the world told you who to be. The journey, then, is not towards something out there. It is a return inward, a rediscovery. And so many people live as if they are chasing a God who is just out of reach, when in reality, the divine waits in the silence between their thoughts, in the stillness beneath their striving. The whole time you've been looking outward, God has been patiently waiting inward, saying, "Come home." There is no need to construct a grand spiritual identity. No need to carve out a perfect version of yourself. That is the trap. The ego loves to build a better mask, even when it calls it healing or growth. But the soul only wants you to remember that you are not broken, that nothing essential in you has ever been lost, that the light you seek is the light you already are. And this is why it feels so familiar when you begin to awaken. It is not the thrill of discovering something new. It is the peace of recognizing something ancient. Something that has been with you through every storm, every doubt, every dark night. That quiet center, that unwavering stillness, that sacred core of your being. When God calls you into your next becoming, He is not adding something foreign to your life. He is removing what no longer fits. He is taking the weight you were never meant to carry. The expectations, the comparisons, the fear. He is calling you to step into what has always been true, though you may have forgotten it under the noise of the world. It is not easy, this remembering, because the world rewards performance, not presence. It teaches you to wear masks, to chase approval, to always be somewhere else. But God is not interested in who you pretend to be. He is calling to the real you, the one who already knows, already hears, already belongs. And so, pause, breathe, listen. You are not becoming in the way you thought. You are remembering, returning, awaking to the divine pattern etched into your soul from the very beginning. This next chapter of your life is not a transformation into someone new. It is a homecoming to someone eternal. And once you remember, you can never go back to sleep. Because when you see who you truly are, you realize You've always been chosen. You've always been enough. You've always been becoming. By simply being, we often believe that transformation is something we must fight for, that to change we must force ourselves into motion, discipline our desires, conquer our fears, push past every obstacle. We believe that becoming something greater must involve a kind of war with ourselves. But that is not how the soul works. That is not how God works. The truth is far more delicate, far more mysterious. Transformation does not come from effort. It comes when you stop resisting. Imagine a river. It does not force its way forward. It flows because it is in harmony with gravity, with the shape of the earth, with the rhythm of life. And you, too, are meant to flow, not by pushing, but by yielding. You do not have to fight your way into your destiny. You simply have to stop holding yourself back from it. The resistance, you see, is not from the world. It is within. We cling to the known, to the familiar, even when it no longer serves us. We cling to the roles we've been assigned, to the stories we've told ourselves about who we are and what we're worth. We build walls of identity, and then wonder why we feel stuck behind them. But what if God is not asking you to become something new through force, but to return to what you already are through surrender? We have been conditioned to believe that surrender is weakness. That letting go means giving up. But spiritually, surrender is strength. It is the quiet confidence of the soul that no longer needs to control everything, because it trusts in the intelligence of the universe. When you stop resisting, you begin to see how everything is already aligned in your favor, not in the way your ego wants, but in the way your spirit needs. When God says, "This is what you are becoming next," He is not commanding you to chase something. He is inviting you to release what no longer fits. The pain you feel in the process of transformation is not the growing. It is the clinging, the fear, the resistance, the refusal to let die what has already outlived its purpose. You do not become by adding more. You become by releasing, stripping away, returning to essence. There is a sacred order unfolding in your life, whether you see it or not. Every delay, every detour, every loss is a soft sculpting of your spirit. It is not meant to punish you. It is meant to bring you to stillness. And in that stillness you will hear the voice of God not as a thunderous command, but as a whispered let go. Trust. Follow the current. That is where transformation lies, in trust. When a seed breaks open, it does not resist the soil. It does not demand to remain intact. It yields. And only in yielding can it grow. So too must you learn to soften, to allow to open. You are not designed to carry so much weight, to hold so tightly to the illusion of control. There is something deeper in you that already knows the way. You are not meant to be at war with yourself. You are meant to be in communion with yourself, in harmony. And when you find that inner stillness, when you stop resisting the flow of life, you discover that transformation is not something that happens to you. It happens through you. It is not the result of striving. It is the gift of surrender. So breathe. Let the old fall away. Let the unanswered questions remain unanswered. Let the path reveal itself one step at a time. You do not need to know everything to move forward. You only need to stop resisting what already wants to emerge from within you. God is not leading you away from yourself. He is leading you back to the center. And from that center, all things are made new. We often imagine that life is a journey with a beginning and an end, a map and a goal, as though we are moving towards some final, perfected version of ourselves. We chase visions of success, of peace, of fulfillment, always out there, always just ahead. But the divine doesn't think in straight lines. And what God has in mind for you is not a destination, but a revelation. You are not walking toward a fixed outcome. You are slowly awakening to what was always true. The moment you see your next chapter not as a point to reach, but as a truth to reveal, the entire experience of life shifts. You begin to understand that you are not here to arrive. You are here to unfold. The future is nothing waiting for you in the distance. It is something rising up from within like sunlight from behind the clouds. The becoming is not out there. It is already happening now in quiet, mysterious ways, hidden in plain sight. And so when God says, "This is what you're becoming next," He is not pointing to a faraway mountaintop. He is inviting you to see what is already taking shape inside you. He is not sending you away to search. He is calling you to look more deeply at what is here. The truth is, the self you are becoming is not someone new. It is someone unveiled. Someone you've always known, but perhaps doubted or ignored or forgotten. This is the paradox. Your next becoming is not an achievement. It is a recognition, like a veil lifting, like waking up from a long and restless dream. You begin to remember that you were never waiting for something to come into your life. You were waiting to come into your awareness. And once you see it, Once you feel that sacred stirring within your chest, you realize it's been there the whole time. The ego loves to measure, to count, to compare. It wants progress to be visible, quantifiable. It wants the story to make sense. But revelation does not obey the ego's timeline. Revelation happens in silence, in pauses, in sudden bursts of clarity that cannot be explained. One moment you are wandering, the next you are home. One moment you are unsure, the next you simply know. And this knowing, this inner unveiling, is the true work of God in your life. He is not molding you into something foreign. He is restoring you to what has always been sacred. And often, before the revelation, there is a season of confusion, a dismantling, because the walls that blocked your view must fall before you can truly see. The waiting, the wandering, the stillness. It all prepares you for the clarity to come. So do not be disheartened if you cannot yet describe what you're becoming. That's not your job. Your job is to stay open, to stay soft, to stay present, because the soul does not reveal itself all at once. It peels back its layers gently, in rhythm with the divine breath that moves through all things. And your life, no matter how chaotic or uncertain it feels, is part of that rhythm. Stop chasing the version of yourself you think you're supposed to become. Instead, listen, watch, be still. The next version of you is not a distant figure waiting to be earned. It is a deeper you, ready to be seen. And when you see it, not with the eyes of ambition, but with the eyes of wonder, you will understand. The breakthrough is not an arrival, it is an unveiling. And so you walk forward not in pursuit, but in presence, not to find something new, but to recognize what has always been yours. The path ahead is not a climb, it is a revelation. And you are already becoming it, one breath at a time. My friends, have you ever wondered why you feel so alone? Why the world seems to move in one direction while your soul is being pulled elsewhere? This is not a mistake, nor is it a punishment. It is a calling, a whisper from the depths of existence reminding you that you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to awaken. We live in a world that thrives on conformity, a world where people find comfort in numbers, in sameness, in predictable rhythms of existence. And yet, you, the chosen ones, cannot find such solace, because deep within, you know, you have always known, that your path was never meant to follow the well-trodden roads of the many. My friends, have you ever wondered why you feel so alone? Why the world seems to move in one direction while your soul is being pulled elsewhere? This is not a mistake, nor is it a punishment. It is a calling, a whisper from the depths of existence, reminding you that you were never meant to awaken. We live in a world that thrives on conformity, a world where people find comfort in numbers, in sameness, in predictable rhythms of existence. And yet you, the chosen ones, cannot find such solace, because deep within you know, you have always known, that your path was never meant to follow the well-trodden roads of the many. There has always been something different about you. As a child, you saw things that others did not see. You questioned what others accepted without hesitation. You felt an invisible current pulling you towards something greater, something unexplainable, something that most people around you could not even begin to grasp. And so the journey of the chosen one begins in solitude, not because you wish to be alone, but because the world does not yet understand the language your soul speaks. You may have noticed how friendships fade, how people drift away, how you are left standing at the edge of a world that no longer resonates with you. It is not that you are broken, nor that you are unworthy of connection. It is simply that your energy no longer aligns with the ordinary, and when one rises in consciousness, there are few who can rise with them. There will be moments when you question everything, when you wonder if there is something wrong with you, if perhaps you should have done more to fit in, to be accepted, to belong. But belonging in a world that does not see you for who you truly are is not belonging at all. It is imprisonment. The chosen ones are set apart not because they are better, but because they are meant for something beyond the distractions and illusions of the masses. You may look around and see people content with the way things are, content with their routines, their conversations, their attachments to things that feel hollow to you. You may feel like a stranger in your own life, observing instead of participating, wondering why the world does not stir them as it stirs you. But understand this: you are not here to be like them. You are here to remind them of something they have forgotten. You are here to be a reflection of what exists beyond the material world, beyond the surface of existence, beyond the illusions that keep so many asleep. And so the loneliness you feel is not rejection. It is initiation. It is the universe calling you to step outside the boundaries of the known and into the vastness of the unknown. The greatest sages, the mystics, the enlightened ones, all walked this path before you. They too were misunderstood, isolated, doubted, but they did not turn back. They did not beg the world to accept them. Instead, they surrendered to the journey, and in that surrender they found something far greater than acceptance. They found truth. You are not lost. You are simply shedding the layers of illusion that once kept you hidden from yourself. And in that shedding there will be discomfort. The loss of old identities, old attachments, old ways of being that no longer serve you. But do not fear this process. Embrace it, for it is only in the emptiness that you can be filled with something real. So, my dear chosen ones, do not despair in your solitude. Do not mistake isolation for abandonment. The universe sees you. The path you walk is not one of loneliness, but of discovery. And as you continue, you will come to see that you were never truly alone. You were simply waiting for others who, like you, have awakened to the call. When you begin to awaken, the world around you reacts, sometimes with confusion, sometimes with hostility. People do not always reject you because they dislike you. They reject you because you remind them of something they are not ready to face, their own sleeping soul. When you stand apart, when you think differently, when you no longer subscribe to the beliefs that once bound you to the crowd, you become a mirror that forces others to confront the truth they have long ignored. And the truth, my friends, is not always welcomed. Most people are not looking for enlightenment, they are looking for comfort. And when you disrupt that comfort, they will push you away. At first, this may feel like a loss. You may feel as though you are being abandoned, left behind, cast out into the wilderness with no one to turn to. But understand that this rejection is not truly about you. It is about them. It is about their inability to understand what you are becoming, their fear of what they do not know, their resistance to a truth that threatens the foundation of their reality. And so they choose the easier path, the familiar path, the one that does not challenge them. They continue to sleep, and you, my dear chosen ones, continue to wake. This is why loneliness follows the path of awakening. The moment you begin to see through the illusions of the world, the moment you realize that so much of what people chase, status, approval, material gain, is ultimately empty, you step outside the game that most people are still playing. You no longer fit in because you were never meant to. And yet, even knowing this, the pain of solitude is real. There will be nights when you long for the simplicity of ignorance, when you wish you could return to a time before you knew, before you saw, before you felt the weight of this journey pressing upon your soul. But you cannot go back. You have outgrown the space that once held you. The question then becomes, what do you do with this loneliness? Do you let it consume you, make you bitter, make you wish to be someone you are not? Or do you embrace it as part of your transformation, as a necessary passage into something greater? For the chosen ones, solitude is not punishment, it is preparation. It strips you of all that is false, all that is unnecessary, all that was never truly yours to begin with. It forces you to meet yourself, to stand face to face with your own soul, without the noise of the world drowning out its whispers. And in that silence, in that sacred space, you begin to understand what it truly means to be free. Most people are never truly free because they are bound by the need for validation. They fear solitude because they fear themselves. They fill their lives with distractions, with meaningless conversations, with relationships that do not nourish their spirit, all to avoid the quiet, all to avoid looking within. But you, my dear chosen ones, you have been given a gift. You have been set apart so that you may learn what few are willing to learn, that true power comes not from belonging to the world, but from knowing that you do not need to. The universe is guiding you, even when it feels like you are wandering. The people who have left were never meant to stay. The places you no longer fit into were never meant to hold you forever. Your journey is not about finding where you belong among the masses. It is about realizing that you are meant to create something entirely new. And in time, as you continue to walk this path, you will find others like you, not many, but a few, the ones who see as you see, who feel as you feel, who have also been waiting for a sign that they are not alone. You are simply ahead, walking a road that few have the courage to follow. Keep walking, keep trusting. The universe is with you. And so, solitude becomes your teacher. It is not a prison, but a temple, where you meet yourself in your rawest form, where you begin to hear the silent voice of the universe guiding you toward your purpose. You see, most people spend their lives running from themselves. They surround themselves with distractions, with endless noise, with relationships that only exist to fill the void of their own fear of being alone. But you, the chosen ones, are being called into something deeper. You are being stripped of the illusions that once made you feel safe. The people who have left, the friendships that have faded, the distance you now feel from the world you once knew, these are not accidents. They are signs. Signs that you are moving beyond what no longer serves you. At first, this feels like loss. It feels like the world is shrinking around you, like everything you once held on to is slipping through your fingers. And that is because it is. Awakening is not about gaining something new. It is about shedding what was never real to begin with. It is about seeing the truth that was always there, but hidden beneath layers of conditioning, expectations, and attachments that were never yours to carry. And the truth, once seen, cannot be unseen. You will notice how the conversations that once excited you now feel empty. The places you once found comfort in now feel foreign. The people you once considered close now seem distant, as if they are speaking a language you no longer understand. And that is because you are no longer vibrating at the same frequency. When you awaken, you shift. And when you shift, the world around you responds. Some will be drawn to you, recognizing something in you that they too are beginning to discover within themselves. Others will turn away, unable to face what your presence reminds them of, their own sleeping soul. This is why the chosen ones walk alone, not because they want to, but because the journey demands it. The path of awakening is not meant for the masses. It is meant for those who are willing to see beyond the surface, to go deeper, to question, to unlearn, to break free from the illusions that keep the rest of the world bound. And so, the road is narrow, and few will walk it. But do not mistake solitude for abandonment. The universe has not forsaken you. It is preparing you. You are being refined, tested, strengthened. You are being taught how to stand in your own truth without the need for validation. You are being shown how to find peace within yourself rather than seeking it from the outside world. The moment you embrace this, everything changes. The loneliness that once felt unbearable transforms into something sacred. You begin to understand that you were never truly alone. You were simply being given space to become who you were always meant to be. You start to see the beauty in the quiet moments, the wisdom in the stillness, the power in standing apart. And in time, you will find others like you. Not many, but a few. The ones who have also walked through the fire of solitude and emerged on the other side. The ones who see as you see, who feel as you feel, who understand the depth of what it means to be chosen. But you must first walk the path alone. You must first learn what it means to rely on yourself, to trust the unseen forces that are guiding you, to surrender to the process even when it feels uncertain. For the chosen ones, the journey is not about fitting into the world, it is about rising above it. It is about remembering who you are, beyond the roles, beyond the expectations, beyond the illusions that once kept you asleep. You were never meant to be like everyone else. You were meant to awaken. And that awakening begins the moment you stop fearing solitude and start embracing it as the gift that it truly is. But do not mistake solitude for suffering. You were never meant to be understood by the many. You vibrate at a different frequency. You walk to the rhythm of a divine symphony that only a few can hear. And in time, those who are meant to walk beside you will find you, not as followers, but as fellow travelers. Until then, your journey may feel like a test, as though the universe is stripping away everything familiar, everything that once made you feel safe. It is not punishment, it is refinement. You are being shaped into something unshakable. There will be moments when the silence feels overwhelming, when you long for connection, for someone to truly see you, to understand you without explanation. But you must understand that what most call connection is often built on illusion, on shared distractions, on mutual avoidance, on unspoken agreements to stay asleep together. You have been chosen to break free from this. You are not here to drown in shallow waters. You are here to dive into the depths, and in those depths you will find something far more valuable than temporary companionship. You will find truth. Most people fear what they do not understand, and so they reject it. They reject the ones who think differently, who refuse to play by the same rules, who see through the veil of illusion. This is why you have no friends, not because you are lacking, but because the masses are not ready for the depth of your presence. They are not yet prepared to face the reflections you bring. And so they turn away. But this is not your burden to carry. You are not here to force them to wake up. You are here to be who you are, to walk your path, to embody the truth that speaks through you, whether they understand it or not. You are not alone in the way that you think. You are not alone in the way that you feel. There are others scattered across the world who carry the same knowing in their hearts. You may not have met them yet, but they exist. And the more you align with your truth, the more the universe will guide you toward them. But first you must be willing to stand alone, to embrace the quiet, to trust the path, even when it feels uncertain. Loneliness is not a curse, it is an invitation to deepen your connection with yourself, to discover what lies beyond the need for validation, to recognize that the love and understanding you seek has always been within you. You have spent so much time searching for it outside of yourself, waiting for someone to see you, to recognize your worth. But the moment you stop looking for acceptance from the outside world, the moment you realize that your value is not determined by who stays or who leaves, you step into your true power. Do not shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant to hold you. Do not quiet your voice to make others comfortable. You were not sent here to be ordinary. You were sent here to awaken. And the cost of awakening is often isolation, for a time. But this isolation is temporary. It is the darkness before the dawn. It is the necessary space where transformation takes place. And when you emerge, when you step fully into who you are, the loneliness that once felt unbearable will no longer hold power over you, because you will have become whole within yourself. And from that place of wholeness, you will begin to attract those who see you not for who they want you to be, but for who you truly are. That is the true gift of being chosen. Not that you will walk the path alone forever, but that when you do find your people, it will not be out of desperation, but out of alignment, out of truth, out of something real. The universe recognizes you even if people do not. You were never meant to seek validation from the crowd, never meant to follow the beaten path that so many walk without question. The chosen ones walk a different road, one that winds through uncertainty, solitude, and profound transformation. It is a road that demands everything from you, your comfort, your illusions, your false attachments, and yet it is the only road that leads to true freedom. You may wonder why your journey has been so difficult, why you have faced so much rejection, why people seem to drift away the closer you come to understanding yourself. But the truth is, not everyone is meant to walk beside you. Some people are only meant to be with you for a season, to teach you something, to reflect something back to you, and then to leave. Their departure is not a failure, it is a clearing, a way for the universe to make space for those who truly belong in your life. The chosen ones are often misunderstood because they do not fit into society's mold. You are not created to simply exist within the systems of the world, to play by its rules, to lose yourself in its distractions. That is why, no matter how much you have tried to blend in, to be like everyone else, to silence the deeper knowing within you, it has never worked. That is why you have always felt different, even when surrounded by others. That is why no amount of socializing, of fitting in, of trying to be normal has ever felt truly fulfilling, because you were never meant for the ordinary. And yet, despite this, there may still be a part of you that longs for acceptance, that wishes things were easier, that wonders what it would feel like to simply go through life without questioning, without feeling so deeply, without seeing the things that others seem so blind to. But would you trade your awakening for the comfort of ignorance? Would you go back to a life where you were asleep, just to feel like you belonged? Or would you rather stand in the fullness of who you are, even if that means standing alone for a time? Because you will not always be alone. There are others like you, others who are also walking this path, others who have felt the same isolation, the same longing for something more, the same inability to fit into the world as it is. The difference is that they too have been scattered, placed in different corners of the earth, each going through their own process of awakening, each being prepared in their own way. And when the time is right, you will find them, you will recognize them not by their words alone, but by their energy, by the way their presence feels like home in a world that has never quite made sense to you. But first you must embrace where you are. You must trust that this period of solitude is not a mistake, but a necessary part of your journey. You must allow yourself to let go of the need to be understood by those who were never meant to understand you. You must learn to walk in your truth, even when no one is watching, even when no one applauds, even when it feels like you are the only one who sees what you see. Because in the end, you are not alone. The universe walks with you. Every step you take, every moment of doubt, every night spent wondering if you are on the right path, it is all leading you somewhere. Somewhere deeper, somewhere higher, somewhere beyond what you can see right now. Keep going. Keep trusting. One day you will look back and realize that everything, the loneliness, the rejection, the unanswered questions, was preparing you for exactly who you were meant to become.